I've decided to start making longer form content. I think it's important to flesh out my thoughts in a more sophisticated manner than shorts and reels and TikTok and such, and actually communicate what it is that I'm doing. I think this will be an interesting series. Just first thing in the morning, take about 10-15 minutes, dump whatever's in my head into my phone through video, and then just share it with the world, and whoever finds it interesting enough to listen can listen, and while everyone else can just continue doing whatever it is they're doing. Breakfast, boiled eggs. There's so many reasons not to do something. Really wanted to make YouTube videos for a large part of my life. Favorite medium of content to consume was always YouTube. Well, that was Casey Neistat in the earliest days, or basically anyone else willing to share their own story. I always found fascinating, but never really worked up the courage to do it myself. Now that I got something big, I like to think, that I'm building, I figured, well, why not? Right? Seriously, why not? Tomorrow's my 25th birthday, and they say when you turn 25, you kind of lock in who it is you're going to be for the rest of your life. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I figured may as well start this routine while I'm still 24. So here I am. I do think that my life has been quite an interesting journey, and I haven't done anything to share my story with the world, and it's always a question of, oh, is it sophisticated or polished enough to put it out there? But I guess the realization is that it never really will be, and it's just a matter of taking what is and where I am in its most authentic form, and having the guts to say, hello world, here's me. Check it out. So, here's me. Boiled eggs for breakfast. Cheers. The reason I've been making more short form content is I just kind of rationalized that it'd be a better way of getting in front of more people, but to function over optimizing for quality of engagement, it just doesn't seem worthwhile. Maybe the content I'm making is just not good enough. I'm just not interesting. I guess it could be any of these factors, but really what I'm trying to do is share the story of who I am and what I'm building and why. And it's really difficult to get that message across in 60 seconds when you're trying to optimize for all these different things like retention editing and quick cuts and captions and music, and all these things really take away from the message, which is, this is just me, and even just doing this now, this feels right, it feels much better. I feel clarity of thought, and I guess there's less pressure knowing that there really is no expectation. No one's probably gonna ever watch this video. So I say, maybe it'd be like Mr. Beast, like, hey, 5 years in the future, yeah, when my company takes off, you'll be back to watch me sitting here, finally working up the guts to do it, eating my boiled eggs for breakfast. I think it's worth mentioning what I'm building, what I'm working on right now. The goal is to make self-experimentation collaborative, and I imagine every single person on the planet would get something different out of that, and most would have no idea what the hell I mean. So I'm going to do my best to explain it as simply as I can. Basically, provide a means for people to track their own health and form community of those working to solve the same health problem, and bring them together and make it a collaborative process. So rather than working in isolation, these people can share what they found with each other and move quicker to find solutions that actually work. So I'm starting with acne, a problem that I have. In fact, a problem that a lot of people have. We spend billions on it every year, treating and researching it. And it's just like, where does that money go? And the realization I've had is that the answer might not be in a pill or a pharmaceutical grade wash or cream, and it might be as simple as searching within nature to find those natural remedies, naturopathic medicine of basically taking care of yourself and optimizing your health in different ways to treat it. And so I've been, you could say, biohacking my own routine for about 80 days. I'm on an 80-day streak. I'm building an app to do so. I taught myself to code. Pretty cool. It's easy to forget how far I've come. But I guess that's because there's so far left to go. And so, yeah, I'm about 80 days in, and I've radically changed my diet. In fact, I have quite an interesting diet. I need to do a better job of actually sharing that story. Maybe that'll be what tomorrow's video will be about. I actually think it will be. I think it'll be a really funny post on my birthday to be like, I'm turning 25 today. Here's what I ate for my birthday. And it's just like boiled eggs and cans of beans. But anyway, getting back to acne. Most people think that it's just an issue on the surface of the skin, and that's clearly not the case, right? It starts from within and then basically boils out onto the skin. So I've been doing lots of research into diet and ways to treat it that way. I read an interesting book called Clear Skin Diet, where Alan Logan just walks through basically what you want to eat and why to clear your skin. And I've been following it for a while now. It's been doing a good job. The thing is, it's difficult. It is expensive to eat so clean, and well, I don't really have a job or a means of making money right now, so canned foods. But I think that's almost even more valuable for the movement that I'm trying to pioneer here, in that there are ways to work creatively, even without money, right? Like, if I was super wealthy, I could go to Whole Foods, and if I was even wealthier, I could have a chef, and then this wouldn't be a problem. My meals would be beautiful and colorful and tasty. But I guess I'm kind of proving that it doesn't matter if you care enough, you'll do what it takes to solve your own problem, right? But me being just one data point in this acne experiment, I realized pretty early on that it was necessary to find the others and to connect us. And so I'm building a technology to help do that. Found a machine learning model in academia. It was published in February by researchers at MIT. Thank you, Alexander Kalinin, and the other guy whose name I cannot recall, but I'll put the link to the paper in the bio below. Basically, it's the most accurate model there is to grade severity, acne severity, based on selfie images. And why this is so valuable is that for this experimental platform that I'm building to have an objective output, right? Otherwise, it's all anecdotal, like what exists on Reddit and TikTok and even YouTube. What that measure does is you could say, okay, these were my protocols and it worked, but now rather than not having the proof, we do have the proof, and it's very easy to filter through, and it'll allow models, more sophisticated models, to sift through the data and connect the dots in just ways that haven't really been done so far. So I've been working with my diet. I also have a regiment. I got another book, The Acne Cure, by something Dubrow. I don't know, I don't want to get the first name wrong, but basically the wash routine is salicylic acid, glycolic acid in the morning, and then salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide at night. Me being me, wanted to do this, but naturally. So rather than going to CVS and buying salicylic acid, I went on Google and looked up where in nature this chemical exists. And what I found is that the precursor to salicylic acid, salicin, is fairly highly concentrated in white willow bark, which is basically a tree. And so I went to the local health food store and got white willow bark extract. So I wash my face with that in the morning and at night, and I think it's working. I mean, in combination with everything else, right? At nighttime, rather than benzoyl peroxide, I found tea tree oil to have similar antibacterial properties. So I just apply some tea tree oil. That's, all natural as well. So with this eventual goal of making self-experimentation collaborative, starting with the first step of acne, I find myself at an interesting juncture in this journey, because really the most important thing to do is to get this message across to others clearly, so that they know what the value add is of joining the community, of using the platform that I'm making. And I launched the simplest possible MVP web app last week, which was literally like just take the model, put it on Streamlit so it's on the internet and people can use it. But the realization I've come to is that the model exists, right? It's out there, it's in academia. It's really what I can do with the model that is valuable. So it's not just like, hey, people with acne, go upload a photo and have this computer tell you that you have acne, which you already know. It's, hey, upload your photo, here's what we're gonna do to help you based on that data point. And I think that rather than a skin assessment, it can be like a routine assessment, because one of the biggest pain points that I've always found, and it seems to be the case based on the Reddit posts that I see, is that it's really difficult to filter what actually works and what doesn't. And what this will do is basically give you an output. If you want to log your photos once a week, is your skin getting better or worse? And then you can ask why, which I think is much clearer of a flow. And now it's just a matter of getting that onto the landing page, right? It's all about simplicity, clarity of message. Basically the puzzle is, what is the least amount of words to use to get that across to someone, within the constraint that it's a Streamlit app. So I spent about a week or two actually trying to host the model just on the internet, and no success. It was extremely frustrating, which is okay. It doesn't really matter. The website's up, it's on the internet, and if anything, it really forced me to just only focus on the text. So now it's, what's that text? And it's actually nice because I think it'll be really simple to integrate an OpenAI call within that. So it can be like, tell me what your routine is, tell me what you're feeling. Both of these entries can be optional. Upload your photo, and then we can help coach you or walk you through what's going on. I think that's a tremendous amount of value add beyond like, hey, here's a number. Guess what you already knew that I'm telling you again, is that you have acne. It's really, I don't build a product just to tell people they have acne. I built a product to clear the acne. So now it's like, how do I use that tool? And it's exactly how I've been using it. So how do I get that message across to the others? More egg. Spent a decent amount of time talking about what I'm building. It's good to talk it out, actually. But now I kind of want to focus on the goal, the dream, why even do all of this. And there was a YouTube video that went viral maybe last week. It was a doctor, brain surgeon, neurosurgeon from MIT who quit his job mostly because he was frustrated that the medical system doesn't actually promote good health. It just slaps Band-Aids on problems and essentially sells people those Band-Aids. And what he found was that patients kept coming back with the same problem because they wouldn't actually address the cause of it. And it's fairly simple. It's something that I know didn't take me a PhD, or sorry, an MD rather, from MIT and 10 years of working to figure it out. But health is this. It's good food, it's low stress, getting sleep, and we're coming to a point as a society where we're in such an age of abundance, but none of that matters if people aren't healthy, and it's really, really stupid that we haven't come to this realization as a society yet. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to make that so, and the way I imagine to do that is exactly what I said in the beginning, to make self-experimentation collaborative. And that starts by making self-experimentation mainstream. It's something that everyone does every day. We just don't realize it, or maybe just don't phrase it as such, but life really is just a series of experiments, and whatever goal you're working towards is a hypothesis that you're testing, and you're going to manipulate the variables along the way to get that desired outcome. But that structured setup is so valuable, and then the tracking aspect along the way is also really valuable. And so for something like health, I think that people generally are happy with where they are, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone has to be a David Goggins or Tim Ferriss or a Huberman, but I think that it's really valuable to show people the potential that they have, and how the little differences can really compound and make quite a large difference in their lives. To start by addressing people's largest pain points, like it'd be really difficult to go out there and say, hey, everyone, cut out simple carbs and sugars, like they're really bad for you, cut out seed oils. But it's much easier to say, oh, you have acne, you want to get rid of it, it's fairly pressing, it affects your life, here's how we can start to move the needle. Let's start to reduce the amount of soda you drink, let's start to reduce the amount of bread you eat, the amount of junk food you consume. And then that way, with the tool, it's really clear that, okay, you're actually improving on the metric that you want to improve on by enacting these changes. And as more and more people do this and the snowball grows, it'll become fairly mainstream. And I think that we are on the precipice of becoming the healthiest generation ever, which I think was only a matter of time given how far we've come along technologically. But yeah, the reason that it's so important to make self-experimentation collaborative, it's not just like, hey, I tell you this is what you should do. It's like, hey, let's figure it out together, right? Like, it's not like I know the answer of what the cure to acne is, but I am willing to try until I figure it out. But it's difficult for me to do it all by myself, given the time constraint, right? I'm only one person, and it takes time for the body to actually respond to the changes you make. So to have 100 people testing 100 different things, well, now we can suddenly move 100 times faster. And that's only if we're all testing one thing. If we're testing, say, 5 things each, now we're testing 500 variables instead of, well, just 5 myself. Again, that's a 100x improvement, but I think where that value begins to compound is the combination of those 5 variables across those 100 people. Is you can start to determine what mixing and matching of those variables has the largest effect. And so you apply that model to really any number of health conditions, really any health condition there is, whether it's something like IBS or low bowel syndrome, where you basically just want to heal your gut, if I understand it correctly, which basically comes down to diet, but maybe eating this thing works for this person, eating this thing works for this person. Those are 2 different things, and we don't know. We just don't have those nuanced insights, and everyone's been trying to work through to this goal of personalized medicine, but no one's really figured out how. And I think that it's just to really go as simple as possible, make it low lift, low friction for people, find what they are most motivated to change, and then provide them tools to measure that change, to connect with others trying to make the same change. go from there. Yeah, egg. I guess one thing I'll have to decide is whether or not I'm gonna edit this video. I think just cutting between the really long pauses, me eating my egg, and then just have it be as raw of a vlog as there ever is or was, and really just